Hey there, guys. We've got news for Global for February 15th. And even though, like an hour ago, I posted a recap video of the live stream, which this is basically no new information, I now have a guest to discuss it with me. So, once again, he carried us in Dark Visions. Now he's going to carry the news video. You can say hello, Barry.
AKA Ong Lover Forever 17246969, whatever that comment said that one time. I'm sure everybody is so excited to hear me talk about this unit that I have not shut up about getting a Neovision for the better part of 3 years now. The comment section can hate me one more time before they finally let it rest, and it's a beautiful time.
I mean, you have been asking for him so many times, and Hiroki finally heard your prayers. So, based on just, what we've seen in the live stream, the kit, the sprite, the assumed unit design from the stuff we've previewed, what are your initial thoughts, Barry? Are you happy that he is coming out approximately a week or two before New Business Plus, unless, things change? Or do you think he looks pretty good? What do you think?
So, sprite-wise, I honestly, bias aside, I truly feel like this is the best sprite in the game by a substantial amount. I would say Malphase's Brave Shift is probably a close second, but I'm a sucker for Phoenixes, and I don't know, this sprite just seems like such a complete design to me. It's fantastic. Now, it's still a damage dealer that is coming out before Neovisions Plus, so I mean, as excited as I am that I'm finally getting an opportunity to have Ong, um, knowing that he's gonna get, we can't even call it power creep at that point. It's like power sand blasted away within only a few weeks. It's really quite disheartening for me. I'm hoping that the support tag and support kit that he's given is enough to carry him, and he doesn't just end up being a water leader with no actual utility whatsoever. Because obviously, I mean, after a while, you're not going to bring him for damage when you could potentially have Laswell and Rain and everybody else who will absolutely blow damage out of the water. No pun intended.
It's actually kind of funny that you call him a water leader because he's really not. He really isn't.
It's true.
Because in Clash of Wills, he's just the Clash leader, period. But
That's true.
but but outside of Clash of Wills, his leader skill is terrible. Like it's not
That's true.
usable anymore
Yeah,
at the high end.
it's true. Well, he's the Clash water leader because he does cover Clash and just general water, which means if you really want to, you could bring Irvine to this Clash, just this one.
Well, now that you mention it, though, unless they just all of a sudden jump power creep enormously, you could bring, of course, the actual Neovisions Plus units under his leader skill.
Hmm.
So the the Neovisions Plus Lastwell and Paladins of Grandchild.
Hmm.
Now, I would sort of assume them to do global stuff. I certainly hope they do global stuff to where the global units are still relevant. But now that I'm thinking about it, that almost does seem like them to have the perfect opportunity to just power creep our entire roster and say, time to pull a new
Hmm.
one.
Sure does.
So, oh god, that would actually be bad.
At this point, I feel like if we're right, we're right, and if we're wrong, we're probably still right.
Yeah, we'll
But
have to
we've
see.
we've been doing this for a while, so we'll see.
So here's actually the sort of, again, we're kind of like assuming, but if we assume that Aang is going to replace Roos in, like, the meta whale Dark Visions team of the water Dark Visions that we should be getting next in line, one thing that Roos brought was the Aqua Killer for the party. And if you drop him,
Mm.
do you think Aang is going to have Aqua Killer even though the current Clash does not have it?
No, I
Hmm.
don't.
So that
I
would.
can't imagine a bow user getting Aqua.
Well, they got bow fishing.
Yeah, Dragon Fairy avian. I feel like that's safe.
So that'll
Uh,
actually.
unless unless the next I guess Clash of Wills special card is a stacking Aquan Killer, which it could be.
Could be. So speaking of cards, something they didn't show in the live stream is a new special card. So here is, before we jump to it though, any thoughts on Aang's personal card?
So I think it's a pretty loaded card with just piss poor stats.
Yeah. If people watch my recap video, I did the math during the video. This compared to Rick's card is like 970 less attack power at the end of the day.
Oof.
After leader skill, in battle buffs, passives, it's 900 and it was like either 970 or 960 less attack power just because of that 40 base and the 150 less compared to Rick's static. It's
I
it's really low.
I don't understand why we're still doing this 130 thing. Like
hmm
150 is not that extreme of a difference when they're just handing out 170s now. I don't know. I love what's on this card. I'm sure it would. I mean, it's very slot efficient if you're specifically building a potentially against two of the races listed for killers. Of course, it has to be a physical killer. Um, but I don't know that 130 is so painful.
Disappointing. Yep. Yep. But then we have Best in the Land, one of those special cards for Brave Exvius only, as far as the flat stats go. But it does have the killer for Bird Killer, so that's convenient, I guess. It's 140 attack. It's slightly better, but honestly speaking, I'd probably stick this on like a support unit because the
Mm-hmm.
killer is not series locked.
Mm-hmm. I will say though, I'm glad that when they showed all of the art from the Lunar New Year units, Ong was the one that was missing other than Emperor Fu. So I am really glad that I will at least be able to save an Ong nice picture to my phone, if nothing else.
Looks pretty good. And then the other thing of the step up is the new rate ups. And we were talking about this before the video. I actually am pretty happy to see this because, I could really use any copies of Galoof, and I could use more Locke just in theory. Like, I don't think he'll ever see real use by me, but I don't have enough of him. So it's something.
Yeah, I mean, Locke is one of the few units I don't have any of. I could absolutely take more Galoof. I think I'm one Roos away from EX3. So as long as I get something that isn't Irvine, obviously I'd prefer Ong, but you know how these banners work at this point.
And the unit is SLB. Kind of assumed that from the live stream. They didn't confirm it, but here's your confirmation. Morale LB as expected. Not much new in the news that we didn't see in the live stream.
It's true. I do just want to throw out one quick mention. I love the fact that they effectively switched his TMR and STMR from his 7-star form. Because his TMR was Sunbreaker and now his STMR is True Sunbreaker. His STMR was Sharpshooter. His TMR now is True Sharpshooter, and they're just both better. So from a continuity perspective, big fan. Shout out to Sketch for bringing that up.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And then Clash of Wills, where they're so embarrassed of the sprite, they took it out of the news.
They should be. They should be absolutely appalled with that sprite.
Yes.
The Clash of Wills enemy sprites are one of the best parts of Clash of Wills because they all look like they've had so much care put into them. This is a regular dragon sprite with a purple sun.
Let me actually bring it up just for anyone that didn't watch the live stream. Real quick. And there we go. There is your sprite for the Clash of Wills.
Awesome. It looks awesome.
Just recycling so hard. It's crazy. Crazy.
That makes me sad.
But not much to talk about as far as the Clash of Wills itself. It looks fairly standard. But All the Clash of Wills and other stuff. So I pretty much went on and on in the video I just posted myself about my thoughts. So this is your moment, Barry, to give us just your thoughts on the overall Clash of Wills changes. Are these good? Are these needed? Is this too far? Should they have never tinkered with what worked in the first place? What are your thoughts?
Oh boy. They went way too far the opposite direction. This is very knee jerk to me. This is, oh no, our players were unhappy. We're just gonna walk it all the way back and undo all of the effort that we put into trying to make this a more fun, more difficult playable mode. I think if they had just expanded Vertex abilities and expanded the chance time to 3 turns, I think that was probably the best thing they did. Um, and they give some more units Vertex abilities, but not every unit in the game Vertex or charging abilities. Like that's absurd. They basically, like, what was the point of any of this now?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you take into account the fact that rank 1 and rank 1000 get the same rewards.
Yeah.
So there's really not even that pressure to rank 1 anymore. It's more that they've decided that the completion rewards were more important than the ranking rewards, which, okay, fine, no problem. But man, come on. It's wild
Mm-hmm.
how far backward they just went.
Yeah, and I actually want to kind of address a comment or two I've gotten in the previous video that I posted a minute ago where I said, overall, I think this is like a misstep yet again. Okay, so, I might go on a little bit of a thing for a moment. So, I think my initial thoughts are, again, they should have never even attempted this Clash of Wills Another thing because, I mean, just right from the concept design stage, if someone had asked a player of the game, if they had sat down and told them these changes, that player that actually plays the game would have told them instantly, this is not going to be popular. This is going to be a bad change that no one is going to like. It does not take a high IQ person to realize this would be an unpopular change. So when they're doing these changes now, and I say I think these changes are too far, it makes it kind of like pointless. What's the point? And then someone says, "Well, didn't you want the changes walked back?" Well, yes, I did. But my issue is they spent. Obviously, they're low on developers at this point. It's very obvious. We don't have artists anymore. They're cutting all the content. Obviously, the game's budget has been reduced. So the employees they do have, they spent however much time between 1 day to 6 months. I don't know how long it took. However long it took, from the very day one of concept, they should have known this is a bad idea. Yet they went forward and they wasted all of that time. So instead of getting crowns, instead of getting explorations, instead of getting events, instead of getting pretty art, they're spending all their time on this Clash of Wills Another. It releases, surprise, surprise, it's a train wreck. Everyone hates it. How is that a surprise to anyone? They went forward anyway, and now they're spending more time to undo all the work. This is what frustrates me. It's not that they shouldn't fix it. They should. They broke it. They should fix it. They're doing so. My thing is, they should have never broken it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
That's my standpoint. Why did we get Clash of Wills Another at all? It should have never even seen the light of day. In the board meeting where they said, and they brainstormed this, someone should have raised their hand and been like, this is a bad idea. Don't do it. And they did it anyway. That's the problem here.
So, yes, agreed. My, I don't know if Gumi's listening or anyone involved who actually cares. But for what it's worth, myself and Gert are both admins of the global Facebook page. And so we, more than most, see and hear what players are saying, what they think, what they feel. um, where they're at with all of this. If they really want input, those of us who actually care about the game and want it to succeed, you know, in perpetuity, we would absolutely sit down and talk. We would find the time. We would make it happen because the current way that everything is going right now, there's a way to do the complete opposite of inspire confidence. It's exactly what's happening. There's so many small opportunities that even if they are low on devs and art, like it won't take more time to just put back in things that we've already had. I don't understand why this week there's no event whatsoever when it would have been the perfect time to rerun the original Ong story event.
Yeah.
We don't need the gear. The gear is so vastly dated at this point, but players who've been playing the game for fewer than 5 years have no idea why Ong matters, or why Chow actually came to be, or who Yan even is. And yet now we have a vision card with all three of them. That asset already exists in the game. They could have just as easily rerun it, given players something to do. You'd blow through it because obviously it was tuned for 6-star units, and we would just call it a day, but it would have been something. We have the opportunity for great stories that have already been told by this game. Just put them back in. I don't care if you don't reset the lapis. Just give us the reason to do it again. Please reset the lapis. But, just give us something to do. Most of the players who are playing the game have not been around since day one. And just by adding the lore back in that's already been created, the game would be in a much better place. Because then these changes that you're making to the modes that you're trying to draw revenue, being Clash of Wills, well, even if people are unhappy, they're still going to be playing your game.
Mm-hmm.
And at the moment, if you don't like Clash of Wills Another, what else are you doing this week? Is it nothing? Because I feel like it's nothing, and it rhymes with nothing because it's just nothing.
Well, we could farm Dark Vision some more.
That sounds awful. I'm not going to keep re-rolling my stupid variants. Which again, if you had just told me, I told you that the very next run that I did, I ended up with a 43.5 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So see, it's...
I know.
If only you had just told me.
I know when you fix that Prompto ST or the Prompto's Titus STMR, the next run, I considered pushing the record. I was still set up for record. I considered pushing the record button for the fun of it. Like, there's no way he's gonna roll better. 43, literally the next attempt.
43.5. So not even a small difference.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
And I haven't tried since because I just don't care.
That should be good enough, though.
I hope so. It depends on how many cheaters there are.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. So we kind of went on a little bit of a tangent, but I mean, this is the news for the week. It's like a unit, a card, and Clash. No event. No. I mean, there's some some free pulls and all, but whatever. But yeah. Oh, and here's just a pop quiz. Do you think they're going to fix the ad wheel this week? Because it's been gone 2 weeks now.
No.
So do you think it's gone forever? Was there actually an in-game notice mentioning it, or is it like an intentional remove, you think?
They mentioned that there was an issue with it,
okay.
but they didn't really go into any detail about it. But why would they put the ad wheel in when they could just make us watch ads and then get a pull?
Well, no, we actually had both for quite a while.
We did, but I mean, the video summons weren't supposed to be permanent. They put a hard date on them, and then they extended them or made new ones.
Oh, well, I mean...
I kind of feel like it's replacing it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, if it's like a decision, do you want the ad wheel or do you want video summons? I mean, oh my lord, video summons every day.
Correct.
But, it was... Like, I'm going to assume the whole point of the ad summons is because it generates them income for the ad income. So it just seems weird to take it out.
It does, but I don't pretend to understand. Then again, I'm still sitting here waiting for my Vision World rewards, so... don't know when that's coming.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I would
But
take 10K before Ong though.
yeah, that's kind of it. So I guess thanks Barry for joining me. We stretched out a 3 news slide video for 20 minutes. That's more than I expected.
See, there you go. We took 3 slides about as long as they did an entire stream.
All right. Well, on Wednesday evening, I will browse the full detailed kit of Aang once we have them on the wiki, and I'll give you my opinion if I think the unit is worth it or not. Based on what I've seen so far, I'm probably going to pull. I'm liking what I see. Final decision always comes on Thursday. How about you, Barry? So initial thoughts. I'm pretty sure you said you were pretty happy, right?
I mean, even if I'm not, Ong is one of my favorite characters in the game. I'm gonna pull.
Nice.
Ong and Sylvie are locks for me always. Everybody else is a dice roll.
Sounds good. All right. Well, see you guys for that on Wednesday evening, and then I'll probably stream Clash on Thursday morning. Oh, here's the last thing, Barry. Predictions, Clash of Wills. So with all the changes, is this going to be a go in there and get a rank 1 in 5 minutes like the Exterminator, or do you think it's going to be the Ginger Buff Man where he just like beats our team down?
Well, it's the second clash of the quarter, so we know this is always the broken one. But they broke the first one pretty bad, so I mean it's really hard to say. With 3 turns of chance, though, I don't see why. Like you're not even gonna need 100 peppermint rods. You just I imagine you could probably go in, set up Mania turn 2, do your setup. Probably see 2 turns of setup. Push your chance gauge. You can do another 2 turns of setup if you want, and then finish by turn 6.
Sounds good. I definitely recognize that it's a very fine line to walk of tuning where it's hard enough to be satisfying without being irritating. So, like, I get that, and, is it too hard, too easy? That's always going to depend on the person you ask, but I'm hoping it's very, very challenging without being annoying and just grating. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. In a game like this, I don't know how to create challenge without extreme RNG or a gear check.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and for people still listening to us going off topic, it's kind of on topic though. I was going to say about the whole Clash of Wills Another system because someone else did ask me. It's like a week and a half ago. Someone mentioned if you think Clash of Wills Another is not good, what should it have been? Someone asked me, and we kind of talked in private messages for a little bit. But I'll give you my opinion now. So Clash of Wills Another, at the end of the day, is not really changing fights any. And that's the thing I don't like. It's you literally just, when it's available, you click a focus gauge. When it's filled, you spin the focus to turn on the mode. At the end of the day, that is the entire system, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't do anything. What I would have loved for the whole Another system of the vertex, the focuses, etc., I would have loved them to be interactive mechanics during the fight. Like on turn 3, like the big bad dragon is inhaling his toxic breath attack. So if by then you filled the focus gauge, you can then use like toxic barrier on the party. Or you can instead do, I don't know, I'm just making up crap. You can use like piercing shadow or something to lower the boss's defense, and you make a decision. Do you want to use the vertex to block this big attack, or would you rather have your party very, very bulky? You can just eat the attack to the face, and therefore you can use the vertex to lower the boss's defenses. Or maybe you can use the vertex to fill your mana bar up, or maybe you can stun the boss for a turn. Like, I would have loved all these vertex and focus abilities to be interactive with the fight and let the AI change depending on what's going on and give you options. Because currently, there's no options whatsoever. There's no interactivity whatsoever. It's literally just filling a bar and turning on the burst turn. That is it. It is boring. It is very, very boring. It could have been so much more. It could have been really awesome. That's what I would have preferred to see. If they're going to change it, make it very, very interactive. but it's not.
I'm gonna throw a little hot take in here. It's
Okay.
probably not that hot. I don't think they should have touched Clash of Wills at all, and I would have rather seen them put that effort into more Chamber of Vengeance.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. Like my original point that I went on for a long time earlier. Yeah, like this should have just never come. Period. What I'm saying is, if like we're gonna get it no matter what. Like they're gonna do this. I wish they
Okay.
would have done it in this way.
Sure. I'd almost I almost would have rather, if they were gonna do this, gone like a difficulty 100, and then they could have added more things to it. Stop the ranking at 99, but if you clear 100, let there just be more rewards for doing it, because then it's just a true mark of challenge and could you do it. Because then, I mean, yeah, then you can tinker with the AI. You can tinker with adding new mechanics into the fight with this whole vertex nonsense. Um, but leave it alone, I would say, up until 99. Let the rankings go as is for the people who care about the ranking. But if you really want to make it hard, let there be a challenge mode, difficulty rank 100, and then like make it a somewhat substantial reward. Like 2 of those new orbs, Xenostone, Obnixious Shards, whatever. But the things that are pertinent to Clash of Wills, for the sake of make it feel like it was a rewarding challenge, but then also make it challenging. That way it's still optional for players. You don't have this giant barrier for entry. And they can make it as hard as they want, because if somebody doesn't want to do it, then they don't have to do it, but then they just don't get the rewards.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Things that could have been.
Indeed.
Well,
But no one asked me, so that's okay.
that's the problem here. They don't ask the players. Like seriously, like I wish we had like more interaction with the developer team. You know,
Hmm.
obviously they would make the final call, but
Of
you know, because
course.
I've seen a lot of games. Like I'm not talking about like indie games. Like you know, obviously if you're in like an indie game with a 2-person development team running the whole
Hmm.
game, you can do what you want. You can sit in Discord and chat with the players. And a lot of the games I play, the developers do that, and it's awesome. I don't
Sure.
expect that with like a big game run by Square Enix, but I have seen like big name studio games where the developers literally will be on the official forums talking back and forth. Like World of Warcraft is one.
Hmm.
Like Blizzard's like a big company. It's a big multi-million-dollar game. And the developers would literally be on the forums discussing changes, getting feedback, and it was interactive. And you know, you can argue whether that helped the game or hurt it, but at the very least, the players, or when I played it, I thought it was meaningful. I thought it was valuable. It was cool that developers interacted directly with the player base.
Sure. I mean, other examples, No Man's Sky completely rebuilt itself on player feedback. Cyberpunk completely rebuilt itself on player feedback. And mind you, these are obviously much larger studios with much bigger budgets, but they still did it. And yeah, they had a bigger budget, but that also, they had much larger undertakings in order to do that. So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's something to be said about letting players feel like they have some semblance of ownership over a product, because then they are much more inclined to contribute in meaningful ways and not just letting you know that what you did sucks and to do better next time. That's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much all any of us could say, because it's not like we ever get a moment to hedge a bet edgewise.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here we are.
Well, this has definitely been I would assume, more interesting news video for minimal news. But thanks again for joining, Barry.
Yeah, man, happy to be here.
All right. See you next time.